Good afternoon, everybody. Tisha B'Av is a time that we capitalize learning what got the Beit HaMikdash destroyed, and how hopefully by the end of the fast we can better myself, and that hopefully by the time the fast is over I'll be a different person, even a little bit. It's worth a lot, because fasting is not a goal, it's just a means to an end. It's meant to make us feel human again, to remind us how, in a way, weak we are. And by the time the fast is over, if I'm able to find one area I could try to mitchazek in and be different in and be better in, then it was worth the Tisha B'Av. And Baruch Hashem, there's many topics that we learn about, that we hear about. A major one is Lashon Hara, a major one is Sinat Chinam, a major one is Shabbat. There's many big topics that we hear about on Tisha B'Av that are all connected to the Khurban. Today we'd like to share with you maybe a different topic as well that we could try to work on Be'ezat Hashem to bring the Ge'ula Shilema B'mehera Be'amen Amen. Take you back to Masechet Kiddushin. But the Gemara tells us in Masechet Kiddushin that in one point of the history of Am Yisrael, during the times of the Beit HaMikdash, we lost a gem of the Kohen Gadol's clothing. So we had to go get one, and the rabbis went to go search, and they found that there's actually a goy that has an identical gem that we needed. And they went to him, and his name is Dama ben Netina, and they asked him, could we buy the gem, the stone from you? And his father was sleeping on top of a key, where the key was, of course, the key to the vault where the gem was. And he said, I can't give you the gem, my father is sleeping, and his pillow is on top of the key. And the rabbis, they walk away and they don't end up buying the gem from Dama ben Netina. And the question is begging, I don't understand. We're not talking about little children here. We're talking about the Kohen Gadol. How do you lose a stone from the begadim of the Kohen Gadol? And rabbis, how long do you think that his father is going to be sleeping for? An afternoon nap? He'll wake up in an hour. You can't wait an hour until he wakes up and he'll give you the gem that you came to buy. He didn't say he's not selling it to you. He just said that his father's sleeping now. So if he's dead, then there's no problem to take the key now. And if he's not dead, he'll wake up in an hour, 6 hours, 8 hours. The rabbi said, no, we're not going to take the key from you. We're not going to go wait till you get the key. We don't want the gem. I don't understand. Why can't you just wait a little bit and he'll give you the gem, he'll give you the stone? Morav Rabotai, we have to know something very important. The Gemara teaches us in Masechet Baba Batra, En zar'o shel Esav nofel ela biyad zar'a shel Rachel. The only one that has the ability to drop Esav are the children of Rachel Imenu. And the question is, what is it about the children of Rachel Imenu that they possess the koach to destroy Esav and no other shevet could do it? What's amazing is, Morai Rabotai, our rabbis tell us, you know what the key is? You know what koach Esav has that only the children of Rachel could counter Esav's strength? Esav was number one in kibud av va'em. And when he didn't get the berachot from his father, he cried 3 tears. One from the right eye, one from the left, and one got locked and didn't come out. One stayed in the eye. One didn't come out of the eye. Because of those 3 tears, we suffered the Khurban of the Beit HaMikdash. You know who destroyed the last Beit HaMikdash? Not the first, the second? Edom. Edom comes from Esav. Esav's strength was Kibud Ava'im. And because of his Kibud Ava'im, that's what gave him the ability to destroy the Beit HaMikdash. And because of the lack of Kibud Ava'im, that is why we don't have the Beit HaMikdash. It's a pasuk in Yechezkel. The Navi says, Av Va'em Hekelu Bach. They were light with their mothers and their fathers. They didn't treat their parents correctly. Esav is the one that destroys the Beit HaMikdash. He's unbelievable in Kibud Ava'im. And the greatest way to get the Beit HaMikdash built, or at least of the greatest ways, is by respecting our parents. When we mitchazik in our kibud ava'im, believe it or not, we are bringing the Beit HaMikdash, and that's one of the biggest ways to counterattack Esav. I'm not scared of Iran. I'm not scared of the Houthim. You know who we should be scared of? We should be scared of our avirot. If a person has an avirah, God forbid, he should be scared of their avirot. He should be scared of their own sins. Because that's how we lose to our enemies. And when we fight and mitchazek against the sins, that's how we're able to beat our enemies. We don't need to actually go out. Hakol kol Yaakov. The koach of Yaakov comes from the Torah and mitzvot. Esav was unbelievable in his kibud av, that even Yaakov, when he went out to war against Esav, he was scared. Vayira Yaakov me'od. Yaakov, what are you scared about? Esav has nothing on you. You're Sadiq Yesod Olam. You're 613 for 613. You're the Amud HaTorah. You're the Bechir HaAvot. You're one of the Avot Kedoshim. You're the father of the Shifteka. You're scared of little Esav. Esav has nothing on you. Esav has one thing on Yaakov. For 22 years, Yaakov was not able to respect his parents like Esav did. Esav was unbelievable in his kibud av, that even Yaakov was scared of that zechut. And when Bnei Yisrael mitchazek in their kibud av va'em, that is of the greatest ways to fight Esav. You know who was the best in kibud av va'em from all the shevatim, as great as they all were? Binyamin. Because Binyamin was not in the cell of Yosef. He didn't even know what happened to Yosef. He's the only one that had no clue, and he's the only one that didn't mesa'er Yaakov Avinu in the mechira of Yosef. Not speaking about the Sadiqim, the Shevatim Kedoshim. We don't even understand their cheshbon. Chas v'shalom. I'm not in any way trying to understand their cheshbon. But on their unbelievable level, they caused pain to Yaakov Avinu by selling Yosef. Binyamin was not involved in that. Credit to Binyamin. He passes away with zero averot. One of the only humans that ever passed away with no avirah. Not ben adam la makom, not ben adam la chavero. The only one that can fight Esav is Zara'ah shel Rachel, the children of Rachel. And where is the Beit HaMikdash built? In whose territory out of all the Shevatim that have a chedek in Eretz Yisrael? Precisely Binyamin. Out of everyone, Binyamin? Binyamin? Why not Yosef? Why not Yehuda? He's the king. Binyamin was unbelievable in his kibud av. You deserve to have the Beit HaMikdash in your territory. Uben ketefav shachen. The Shekinah is in your territory because you were always by your father's side. You cared about your father. The mitzvah of kibud avim is heavily connected to the Beit HaMikdash. Which gem was missing on the breastplate of the Kohen Gadol? Our rabbis tell us it was the gem of Binyamin, called Yashveh. And why was that gem missing? It was Min HaShamayim, says the Sefer Torah Shalom in the name of the Tzaddikim, that gem is going to be missing because Hashem wanted to teach Bnei Yisrael in that time a lesson. You're lacking in your mitzvah of Kibud Ava'im like Binyamin was unbelievable. You're not going in the derech of Binyamin. You're missing the gem, the stone of Binyamin. And where do they go to learn a lesson? They go to a goy called Dama ben Netina. And they learn from him the power of Kibud Ava'im, that he's ready to lose a wealth, just not to wake up his father. He could have said, Daddy, just get the key. Nothing. I don't want the key. I'm not even going to ask my father. I'm not going to even wake up a little bit. Nothing. You have a big sale right here. It doesn't make a difference. And they got the lesson. The rabbis walk away. They're like, we're not getting that gem from that goy. That would be an embarrassment to us. If we have that gem from the goy, we don't want anything to do with that gem. That gem is speaking volumes of kibud ava'im by a goy. No, that's not for us. They walk away. We'll find the gem from somewhere else. But from the goy, we're not going to take the gem. And that's why the only one that's able to come and actually destroy Haman, which is the last galut that we were in before this one. They managed to get out in 70 years. 1956 years later, here we are. And we have to get out of our galut. Let's learn from them. What did they do? The princess, the queen that was Zochah to save Bnei Yisrael. That queen was none other than Esther Hamalka. Why was Esther the most perfect candidate to destroy Haman? Very simple. Haman comes from Esav. He has the zechut of kibud ava'im. If you want to counter Esav, you want to counter Haman, then where's your kibud ava'im? And it's almost impossible to be good in Kibud Ava'im. Esav was unbelievable. Who's going to match Esav? Comes along Esther HaMalka, and she fights Esav with her Kibud Ava'im. The Pasuk says in Megillat Esther, Ki ein la ava'im. And the Gemara says, what does that mean, Ki ein la ava'im? Esther never had a mother or a father a day in her life. When she was conceived, her father passed away. When she was born, her mother passed away. She was a yetumah from birth. The only girl that we probably know of that was a yetumah from birth is Esther. Why do I need to know that in the middle of Megillat Esther? This is a national tza'ar. Okay, it's very sad that her father, I'm sure Avichai, was a phenomenal tzaddik. Of course he was. Why do I need to know that about Esther right now? And if you don't hear those words in Megillat Esther, then you're not Yotzei the Megillah, by the way. If you didn't hear Ki ein la ava'im, then you have missed the Megillah. Come back to Park Avenue and get another reading at 9:30. You're not Yotzei. What do you mean not Yotzei? I heard the whole Megillah. Haman, Achashverosh, Mordechai. No. You didn't hear that Esther was, you missed the boat. You're not Yotzei. What do you mean miss the boat? I got everything else. You got to hear Ein La'ava'im. Why do I have to hear that? Because being that she had no mother or father, she never disrespected her parent a day in her life. She was unbelievable in Kibud Ava'im. She's the only candidate practically that could go fight Haman and destroy Zar'o Shel Esav. And she comes, of course, from Shevet Binyamin. Yehuda, of course, he was the father of Mordechai had Tzaddik, but Mordechai comes from Yehuda and Binyamin, and Esther comes from Binyamin as well. And b'schut that, she was zuchah to come and save Bnei Yisrael. It's a Ya'arot Devash Morai V'Rabotai. You can be thinking, Rabbi, Tisha B'Av, Kibud Ava'im, it doesn't exactly go. Ya'arot Devash says, Shekocho shel Amalek, b'schut Kibud Av shel Aviv Esav. Amalek, his strength is from his grandfather, Esav. And he writes, "Vekedei lehitgaber alav." If you want to overcome Amalek, if you want to overcome Esav, serichin Yisrael le'echoz bishlemut b'mitzvat kibud av va'em. Yarot devash mefurash. If you want to overcome Esav, then mitchazek in the kibud av va'em. Even clearer, in case that wasn't clear enough, the Kaf Hayim Palachi writes, Hageula ha'atida, the future redemption, bimhera beyamenu, biskut kibud av va'em. The future redemption, says the Kaf Hayim Palachi, is coming because of the mitzvah of kibud av va'em. Interesting. What's the name of the month that we are currently in? Av. The Khurban happened in the month of Av, because perhaps there's a Khurban in the Kibud Av. How amazing it is. Says the Zohar HaKadosh that there's 22 days from Shiva Asar Betamuz until Tisha B'Av. If you count Shiva Asar Betamuz exactly 3 weeks ago, including the fast until today, Tuesday to Tuesday, there's 22 days. Says the Zohar, 22. It's not a random number. These are 22 days that belong to Esav. Why does Esav have these 22 days? Says the Zohar HaKadosh, it's corresponding to the 22 years that Yosef was far from his father and wasn't able to do Kibud Av. How amazing it is that Yaakov was also 22 years away from Yitzchak when he was in Lavan's house for 20 years and then 2 years on the travel. The 22 years, Yom Lashana, 22 days that Esav has against Bnei Yisrael. If you want to break it down even more, how unbelievable it is that if you take the years of Yosef when he was away from his father, the 22 years are really divided by 13 and 9. 13 years he was in Egypt as an Eved to Potiphar and in jail. 1 year he was in Eved, 12 years he was in jail, that's 13. And 9 years he was second to the king. The 22 days are divided, 13 are in Tammuz and 9 are in Av. 13 and 9 precisely, the way the 13 and 9 is divided by Yosef HaTzadik. We all want the Beit HaMikdash. The Beit HaMikdash, in this week's parasha, Parashat Vayetchanan, is called Hahar HaTov Hazeh VeHaLevanon. You want Hahar HaTov. If we want the good mountain, that's Har HaMoriah. You know what it's going to take? We're going to need to be Tov. And what is Tov? The only one of the Asirat Dibirot that it says over there, L'ma'an yitav lach, is by Kibud Ava'im. The Torah promises that when we mechabed, when we respect, when we honor our father and mother, that we'll have arichut yamim, ulma'an yitav lach, it will be good for you. You'll have good, har hatov. Maybe that's a remez, that we'll be zochet to have the Beit HaMikdash. How interesting it is that we're zochet to have the tet, the tov. Today is Tish'a Tov, and Shiva Asar B'Tammuz is Gematria Tov, hinting perhaps that there's a lack in the Tov. We're not mechabed perhaps the way we're supposed to, our father and mother. And because of that, maybe that's why we're still in this galut. You know, Esav, they made a national holiday called Mother's Day. Really, in the eyes of the Torah, every day is Mother's Day. Maybe that's to hurt us, if anything. When they designate one day for a mother or a father, then we lose the focus the rest of the year. That's not what Esav would do. Not to learn from Esav, but that's not what Esav did. For Esav himself, every day was Father's Day. Every day he was mechabed his father. Not one day a year. We need Hallmark to make a national holiday, so I have a reason to buy my mother a gift, to remind her that I love her. How can we ever pay back our parents? It's impossible to pay them back. If our mother left us in the house for 1 hour when we were little children, we would be begeder sakanat nefashot. We weren't able to scratch our backs. They fed us. They made us feel like champions. They put the bib on us. They dressed us in baby clothing, made sure that it's clean, made sure that the diaper is changed. This is going on for months and years. Made sure that we're sleeping well at night. And when we woke up in the middle of the night crying, she didn't just go to a different room and say she's going to sleep. She said, what's the problem? What happened? Why not feeling good? You want a passy? It's not the passy. We still cry. You want a bottle? We don't want a bottle. You want to change? You have a rash? You have an itch? Until she figured out what it was, she wasn't ready to go to sleep. How do we pay back a parent? How do we say thank you? Where's our kavod for our parents? Where's our respect? Treating them the way they're supposed to be treated. GM, mom, you can't write good morning? GM, if you're already texting your mother and you're not walking to her house and putting a red carpet in front of her, at least give her the kabod and write good morning to the queen. Not good morning like she's a friend. So when you see GM, sorry you're too busy to tell your mother good morning. Pick up the phone and call her. Where's the kabod for the horim? Where's the kibud ava'im? Sometimes we put the phone down. And when we pick it up, we see there's a few missed calls. How long does it take us to get back to mom? Mom, I saw you called a few hours ago. You called everybody else. You managed to find time to call everybody. And mom is the last on the list. And you called her, oh mom, you called a few hours ago. I'm sorry I missed your call. Do you need something? What? She's not your friend. She's not your neighbor. She's your mother. She's a queen in your eyes. Your father's a melech. You don't give him a cup of water. Here you go, Dad. You give him a cup of water. Be'emah. If we need a little bit to understand, if President Trump were to text you, you wouldn't write GM Donald. Good morning, Mr. President. If he asks you for a cup of water, you're running. Our parents are less than the President of the United States. They're less. They're less than the king. Mom, can you please pass the salt? You asked your mother to pass the salt on the table? If a father wants to, out of his own ratzon, give his son, who's a Tamir Chacham, a cup of water, Chacham Ovadia is back and forth if it's mutar for the child to take the cup of water from his father. The father gets an from it, his son is a Tamir Chacham, and he's back and forth. And here the son is going. Oh, Mom, if you're happy to be in Costco, please just pick up a few pieces of salmon for me. Are you kidding? What does she look like to you? It's your mother! What happened to the Kibud Av Va'em? That's why we're mourning today. Because the Kibud Av Va'em is a khurban, perhaps. I have no patience for my mother. I'm so busy. She always bothers me. Your mother bothers you. What kind of hacky is this? You have no patience for your mother. So annoying. She's annoying. You understand? You would be dead if it's not for your mother. You understand? She took care of you more than a Hatzalah member does to a patient for years. The whole musag of what a mother and a father is, and the respect that we're supposed to be having for them, has been destroyed practically. That we don't even know how to respect our parents properly. We treat them like they're our buddies. We're not even allowed to say our parents' name in the room when they're in the room, even if you're not calling your father's name. If your father's Binyamin and you're calling your son Binyamin, not when your father's in the room. I'm not calling my father Binyamin, I'm calling my son. Yeah, but your father's name. So what? I'm calling my son, but your father's name. Yeah, but I'm calling my son. Do you understand who your father is? You cannot dare say his name in his presence. Why? Because he's your father. So what? I'm not disrespecting him. Then you don't even understand what respect is. Esav, who knows what kibud ava'em, comes and destroys the Beit HaMikdash. He cries 3 tears. You know why he cried the 3 tears? Because when Yaakov came in for the berachot, and Yitzhak says to Esav, your brother got the berachot, he cried. You know what those tears that he cried mean? He understands his father's berachot means something. And he's crying because he valued his father so much that he's crying that he's not zocheh to the beracha. On a Friday night, do we go to our father and our mother like that? Can I please have a beracha? I value your beracha so much. Well, Esav valued his father's beracha tremendously, and he cried. When we're ready to counter-attack those tears, that's how we're zocheh to get the Beit HaMikdash built. They say over a story, I saw this in one of Rabbi Spiro's books, how during the Holocaust, there was a certain town that they got all the Jews together in the town square, and they told them they have around half an hour to go pack a bag, and to come back, they're going to go on the train. They didn't know exactly where they're going. They heard maybe, but they're not sure. They go home, and as they're packing a bag, one father tells his son, he says, could you please iron my shirt for me? And the son says, Daddy, who cares if your shirt is ironed? It's the Nazis. You know where they're taking us now? Daddy, it doesn't make a difference. And he looks at his son and he says, please iron my shirt. He says, Daddy, please iron my shirt. He goes, he irons the shirt, comes back, Dad, here's your shirt. He looks at it, he says, still a little creased, please iron it more. The Nazis betrayed, who cares about that? Goes, irons the shirt, gives it back. The father takes the shirt and he looks at the son and he says, I don't care about my shirt. I just wanted to give you a mitzvah that hopefully b'zchut that you'll be able to be saved from these animals. And that's the mitzvah of kibud ava'im. Lema'an ya'arichun yamecha, they should have long life. He was giving his son an opportunity. You think you're helping your father, you're helping yourself. And that son lived to tell the tale under his grandson's chuppah. You want to know how to beat the Nazis? Yimach Shemam. You want to beat Haman, you want to beat Amalek, you want to beat Iran, you want to beat Syria, you want to beat all the oppressors of Bnei Yisrael, no problem. It's up to us. Many people today pick up a phone, I'm sure, and finding, who did I maybe do something wrong to? Maybe Sinat China, maybe Lashon Hara, I want to better myself. Why are we going so far to a third party? We don't have to ask our parents for mechila. We have to ask them 1,000 mechilot today. 1,000 mechilot we have to ask them today. For the choser, kibud ava'im that we've done over the years. Because I'm sure we're human. We maybe did something wrong when we were young. And if we don't have to call to say sorry, then maybe we could call to say, Mom, I love you. Thank you. I love you, Mom. Love you, Mom. You're the best. When's the last time we told our mother those words? You're the best. We could say those words every single day, and every single time you're doing a mitzvah from the Torah, she'll melt. Every single time. Dad, you're the best. I'm so lucky you're my father. You're unbelievable. You're number one. You know how much I learned from you? What do you think Esav would do? He knew how to mechabed his father. We have to fight the kibud av of Esav to get the Beit HaMikdash built. We have to pick up the phone and say, Daddy, how are you? What can I get you? On the daily. Sometimes someone could think, kibud av takes a lot of time. Well, there was a great tzaddik called the Chazon Ish. When his mother was in Almanah, he would go every single day and spend half an hour with his mother talking to her. Not about the Rashba. She would just talk to him. The Gadol Hador is sitting with his mother for half an hour. After 2 minutes, we start. Okay, Mom. Anything else, Mom? We can't say for 2 minutes almost. Half an hour. Your kibud av doesn't take away from your life, not from the quality and not from the quantity. Adrab, on the contrary, that's what's going to make you great. The great tzaddikim were great because they respected their parents. It's not, oh wow, look at the great tzaddikim, they respected their parents. No, they respected their parents, and that's why they became great. The Admor Migur says before a person is born, it's gazur exactly how long he's going to live for. Exactly how long he's going to live. 80 years, 4 months, 3 days, 2 hours. Exactly. Except, he says, except for all the time you invested in your parents. Whatever time you gave your parents, that you're getting back. You will not lose a second of life because you cared for your mother or your father. It takes time. They give time. They don't take time. You're giving them, you're taking. Don't worry. You're just helping yourself. I'll just leave you off with an unbelievable Seder HaDorot. The Seder HaDorot. He says there was once a Tana called Rabbi Yoshua, not the rabbi of Rabbi Akiva, another Rabbi Yoshua, who found out that in Gan Eden, he's going to be sitting next to a butcher. And he was a little bothered by that. Not that there's anything wrong, chas v'shalom, with the butcher. Could have been a tzaddik. But a Tana, who can do techiyat hametim and is on a high level spiritually, he might have thought maybe he's sitting next to somebody else. Next to the butcher, okay. But I did wrong. I didn't do something correct. I didn't do something right. I didn't do what I was supposed to. Seder HaDorot says, how did that butcher be zocheh to get to such a great place in Gan Eden? Because he had elderly parents. They didn't have old age home. They didn't have a Filipino taking care of the parents. He would go every day himself, bathe his parents, dress his parents, feed his parents. Exactly what they did for us when we were little babies. And they made us feel champs about it. And he would do it every single day. He was mechabed his father and his mother on such an unbelievable level. And when Rabbi Yeshua found out that that's what the butcher did, he said, oh, Ashrai, I'm so lucky to be sitting next to him in Gan Eden. Exact opposite. This might be a mitzvah that has been overlooked a little bit by me. Today we have a chance to learn what brought the Khurban on a different level. We all want Eliyahu Hanavi to come. If you take the gematria of the word Eliyahu, it's 52, which is the same gematria as the word Ben. When we start acting like a Ben, we start acting like a child, then we'll be zukhir to have Eliyahu. It's up to us to bring the Ge'ulah. The Ge'ulah is in our hands. The faster we could mitchazik in our Ben Adam lachavero, primarily Kibud Av, which is Ben Adam lamakom and Ben Adam lachavero, then the faster Be'ezat Hashem will be zukhir that the month of Av will be a time to celebrate and a time to see Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mera b'yameinu. Amen.